think about telling us about some of your methods or ways that you've come to learn to find them, maybe in Minnesota or other places, and talk about some of that?
You know what? It's apparently that we both like the same type of places. That's it. Away from people, away from, off the path. I don't want to be where people are just going to walk up on me. I don't want to be walking down the path, be smoking a joint and have to put it down. I want to be able to walk unbothered. I don't care about anybody, what they have to say about me, what I look like, anything. I don't want nobody's opinions. And I went so long of really, really hating people looking at me and their opinions because it was nothing but trouble and strife. So I like to go off the path and don't meet people. And just so happens I like rocks and fossils, and I go looking for fossils and archaeological finds, prehistoric tools, anything. Just, I want to be off the path. I don't want to be around people. And I go by the compass. So, roads and trails and broken fences are no limits for me. I've never crossed an unbroken fence, if you're going to quote me. So, yeah, that's what I do. I just go out. I'm off the path.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I first moved to Minnesota, I learned about a semi-precious stone called an agate. And they're everywhere. Well, I couldn't find them. Couldn't find them anywhere. And people be walking right by me and picking them up. And I can't find them. Finally, I had to go to the store, look at agates, and keep looking at agates, and I put them down on the ground, start picking up the agates, and then I started being able to see the agates. Then I got to where I wouldn't miss not one agate. I can see every single agate, and nobody that I go agate picking will walk behind me. They will try to run and get ahead of me every time, and I'll keep up. I'll catch up. They're too slow, and I can pick them up and won't do searching, walking slow. I'm walking kind of fast and picking them up as I go. And so I get the eye for it. And that's the same way with these guys. They're there. Apparently, they're everywhere because I don't think they're following me everywhere. But I'm seeing them everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but you know what I'm saying. I'm seeing them. I don't have a problem seeing them. There's a lot of other people out in the same place, and they're having difficulty seeing them. That's all it is. I have the eye for it. Now, why they don't run me out of the woods, why they don't mess with me, well, that's easy. I respect everything in the woods. I'm not trashing the woods. I'm not shitting somewhere and throwing toilet paper everywhere. I bury my shit or put it in a bag and it's getting carried back out. I'm not listening to a bunch of music. I'm not building bonfires. If I'm using smoke for bugs, mosquitoes, then I'm using the smoke for mosquitoes when I need it. And it's pretty obvious what I'm doing with the smoke when I'm doing that. And then when I'm cooking with something, I'm just building a small fire to cook. And whenever it's nighttime, I'm not using a bunch of lighting. I don't search around in the woods and spotlight in the woods or nothing. I keep it quiet. I have a cow hide or a piece of hide, and I would have marbles down right by my tent at the door. That's real, to me, that's real important because for other people, it could be different. Because if you're scared shitless of them, you don't want this mat right next to your door, right next to your tent, because you don't want to give them the wrong impression. That's right there in front of my door. They can come right up to my door and unzip my tent and looking at me, and they won't see somebody freaked out they'll see somebody calm. They'll see a dog in there just sitting there, not barking, not raising no hell, and they'll know that I got those marbles there to barter with, and they would most likely be just looking, just a look. That would be my guess was that would happen if that was to go down. I mean, I got what I have to offer, and they may want to look in your face. You set your own boundaries from the get-go. I learned how to set my boundaries. That's why I don't wear a hat anymore in the woods. I never wore a hat after he looked at me like he was not happy with my hat. That was $360. My hat was $360.84.
Yeah.
I was done. I hung that hat on the wall. After 3 days, my mom I thought she was, heartbroken because I wasn't wearing a hat no more, And that's why I wasn't wearing it. I was like, nah, I think it looks good right there. That's what I said. I think it looks good right there. Never told her. So, yeah. Did I tell you about my brother's experience when he was fucking waking everybody up with a radio, and I chewed his ass out, and he come in accusing me of shaking and banging on his trailer?
No.
That was hilarious. He came in, well, the night before, I told him, or the morning, his alarm clock just started going off at 5 o'clock or 4:30. He had to crank up his dump truck, get it greased, and get it going down the road, go to work. Well, he's got early morning. He's got to turn his alarm clock radio full blast and wake everybody up. Well, I got bent out of shape, went out there and, just right outside of his little camper trailer. We got him a camper trailer out by the gazebo and the light and everything in the middle of a nice little meadow, maybe 30-yard round grassy meadow to sit in. And I'm out there early in the morning raising hell, yelling at him to turn that son of a bitch off, and waking everybody up in the dead. And if you wake everything up in this fucking woods, you're going to regret it. I said, you don't want to wake everything up. And he turned it off, and I went back and, kind of left it at that. And then the next thing I remember, I think it was the next day, he's busting into the door, looked straight at me, and boy, he was bowed up. He was puffed. He was puffy. He was bowed up, and he looked at me. He says, "Was you out there shaking feet on the trailer this morning?" And I'm like, it chapped my ass bad, royally. I said, "Did you even bother to fucking look and see who's doing it?" I said, "Next time, you open the fucking door and look, and then you come talk to me. Until then, I don't want to hear a fucking word." And I left it at that. And then I never saw him again. Apparently, he loaded up his wife in his car and just left.
Huh.
His dump truck and everything. Left everything and went to Minnesota. I guess he was scared of Bigfoot and left Texas and went to Minnesota.
Huh.
Well, that's ironic. Kind of reminds me of that ranch hand running away.
Huh.
He's running away from Bigfoot, and where is he going? You ain't getting away from him. Motherfucker, he's there too. It's funny.
It is.
Yeah, you can't leave the state and think you're going to get away from him. You're going to have to live on a concrete island to get away from him. A city, inner city. That's the only way. any kind of rural suburb like area, you're not away. They don't say that's yours and we're over here. We can't go over there. That's theirs. Nah, they're not like that. They got a mind of their own. They can get pretty close to homesteads and communities and small towns, and even right outside of big cities. I mean, just right up in there. I mean, even like Duluth, it's a big city, but it's got thick trees going all the way up into it, all through them trails going through Duluth. There is no limit to these things. It can be anywhere. It can be anywhere. I seen one in Gary, New Duluth. It was a little one. I was going to camp 3 days, and it was only a little one that was coming around. After 2 days, and it was still only just a little one, I kind of felt that Mama and Daddy and the group is gone, and the baby's hanging around me while they're gone, and I'm too close to the nursery area, and just so happens I was on the property of the Forestry Service headquarters in Gary, New Duluth. So I wanted to go to a place where I didn't have to worry about all the hunters because it was hunting season. So I went on their property and started camping on their property for 3 days. And after the second day, I was like, well, no, Mom and Daddy, I don't know what they're doing. They come back and see me here. You know, I don't want a surprise like that. Let me get the hell out of here, you know. And I built up. I mean, early in the morning, I took off, made some phone calls, said, hey, I got to come out of the woods early. I got company out here, and I got to go. Yeah, no problem. Got up. And
did you get a look at that one, or did you just kind of know? Like, how'd you know?
I'm in the dark. It was in the trees. I could see it in the trees. I was just watching, looking where my dog was watching, and the only thing that I was using was a small rollout mat, and I used a big mosquito bug net thing that you just drop it over your bed, tie it up. Mm-hmm. So that's all I was using, you know. So I could see it in the tree, the little, looked like a little bear up in the woods in the trees, just squatted up in the tree. I seen it move a little bit when it come from the ground up, but you got to understand that I would position my little campsite in a small ravine, a low spot where if people are walking, they really got to get kind of close to see me, you know, because there's a lot of wash ravines, up and downs, you know. You'll go up and down 4 or 5 foot, and then you go a little bit further and you got a creek, you know, creek webbing through all over the place. It's not flat in a lot of trees. Mm-hmm. Not flat at all. So it was easy for me to get nice little spots. But when we could see them, it's not like I had clear vision of the ground floor. All I seen was up the slope and the trees that it was in. And so when it came in and climbed on that tree, it would have to be in that tree next to it, coming into that one, or climbing off of the bottom of the tree and climbing up into that tree, or some way. It just was already coming at an angle that it didn't seem like it was walking on the ground going into that tree. It looked like it was coming from the tree next to it into that tree. And then nestled down in there, and I'm just telling my dog, don't worry about it, and I always train my dog about, say it's a task trained working dog. It's a service animal. It goes everywhere with me. I've trained it to deal with things that I was trained to deal with, disasters, and, so it will literally do anything and go everywhere. It'll fly. It'll do anything. It'll do anything. I've swum in hurricanes with that dog before. So it's a very well-trained dog. And I tell the dog, don't worry about the wild babies. I call them wild babies. She won't bother anything that I say call them a baby. Law enforcement, I call them my baby. Whenever they're coming up, come on, baby. I call them baby. And my name ain't baby. I said, no, it doesn't matter. I said, if you're going to be in my pack and my dog, you want to be in my pack and okay with my dog, you got to accept being my baby. Oh, okay, yeah. And so, yeah, like I can pick up a little bird and say, it's my baby, watch it, and it won't hurt it. It'll just, rabbit, cat, whatever. And so she doesn't go nuts. She doesn't get excited. She doesn't get scared or shake. She just watches. Handles it really good.
Yeah. How about...
She won't bark yet. She'll bark at anybody and everything that'll move. She won't let nothing sneak up on me. But she won't bark at these things.
Yeah. How about any other times that you've been camping or out on the trail for a long period of time, and maybe you saw them again? Maybe you could tell us about some of those cases, maybe with your girlfriend or whoever.
Yeah. See, I camped a long time on that Mesabi Trail, and one summer I started in Gary, New Duluth. I wanted to camp that Mesabi Trail. So first time I camped was in Gary, New Duluth. And then I went further and I was at Grand Rapids and Hill City and Mackinac, and I went all the way to Hibbing, camped all the way out in the Hibbing area. And what's weird is it seemed like I was running into the same group on the Mesabi Trail from the young one in Gary, New Duluth looked exactly like the one that I seen in Marble further down the road, down the trail. And the one that I seen in Marble, the little one I seen with his mama. I'm sure I want to say it was a boy, but I'm not sure. But the one that was next to it, squatting down looking at me, was a female. And see, okay, I don't want to get too far ahead. See, I started camping down the Mesabi Trail, and I kind of like can spot their areas. But I can kind of see things, that's not normal. Someone stacked that up. That's kind of like what they do. They'll make little blinds right above trails, and I'm off the trail. I'm way off the trails, and I'm high above the trails, and I'm looking at blinds set up along the trail, all over the place, where something's setting up just to watch people going down this trail. I'm like, damn. And then I spot part of the forest where every tree is turned and twisted and bent and webbed together into a jungle gym, which I from being around them in Bastrop, I was like, damn, I just walked in a daycare. And I started looking around. I was like, oh, shit, I need to be careful. Then I start walking, and I got my dog with me, and I'm being real quiet, I'm listening to everything. I can even hear my heartbeat. I'm like, damn, Did I just walk into this shit again? I mean, how many times in my life can I, be somewhere else and then run into this shit? And then all of a sudden, I hear this super high scream. It was almost like as high pitch as a steel on steel squeak scream, and then it was super long, and then it changed. I can't remember the very end. It changed its tone, so it stopped sounding like metal on metal. I was like, no, I don't know what the hell that is. And I was walking right along the pit mine. Well, I'm over there by that pit, and I just kind of creeping on along. And then all of a sudden, I see that little one standing behind the tree looking at me. And I look at that, and then I see the mama next to it looking at me, and my dog just stops. I look down at my dog, make sure everything's cool. She doesn't have her hair out. Her tail is down. Her ears are up. And she's looking straight what I'm looking at. So she's cool. She's not over anxious. And I just go back looking at them. And I'm just changing looks. The little one had tucked in when I looked at my dog. The little one tucked in behind the tree and put its head on the other side of the tree and was peeking around. But it didn't move its feet. It just moved its shoulders and head. The mama just stayed right there and didn't move. I started making out the mama. The mama had face all over her. She was completely furry. And she had her arms. She was squatted down with her arms to her in front of her. So basically she was, she just squatted down. Hands in front of her. She was looking dead straight at me. And then I'm trying to get a real good focus, just watching. Then all of a sudden, from my right, big old splash, something threw in the water. Then I looked over there. Then something threw and came down and landed to my left, on the left side of my dog. My dog didn't move. Me and my dog both looked. And then it happened again to the right side of me. And I looked right again, and I said, oh, man, I'm getting red. And I looked up, and they were gone. I said, check that shit out. I said, they're already gone. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be an idiot. I've done, they moved out of my way. I might as well go. If I turn around and run, I'm going to have a really bad day. So what I did was I didn't want to be with at all by this group. At all. I've heard of people's problems, and I've bumped into new people before, new wild people, but I keep my distance and I don't push them, and I don't push them. I don't. I know they're there. I have marbles for them, but I don't push them at all. I just give them their space. Well, they had moved completely out, and there's I was right on the edge of the pit, so either I go straight or I turn around and go back the way I came. I decided to go straight and keep going, and went out, took a right, headed straight to the highway, and then I crossed the highway, and I walked for 5 hours all over the opposite side of where I seen them, on the other side of the hill, or the highway, in a pond or a lake or something, and all these hills and everything, trails. I went all over everywhere looking for any kind of footprints or anything of them, and they wasn't over there, so I kind of rolled it as they're just hugging the edge of that pit mine,
Mm-hmm.
And so I went all the way back around. That was like a 10-mile hike. Got back home. 2 weeks later, after my feet felt better, I went walking back out there where I ran into him, paid my respects to him, and on my way back, I got home. As soon as I got inside, And I sat in the window. I heard that big dude going off. It would have been the gray one, but I had never seen the gray one yet. I didn't see that one yet. I'd only seen the mother and the father, the mother and the baby one, and there's 3 others in the same little group that I haven't seen yet at that time. So that thing bugled off. As soon as it bugled off, I said, "See, you hear that?" To my ex-girlfriend Christine. "See, he knows exactly where I live now. As soon as I sat down, and he's right over there on this hill, he can see my window from, you know." And she was, "You're fucking nuts. Why are you going out there and acting like you're talking to Bigfoot or something?" You know, she's just going nuts. I mean, whoa. I mean, it would drive me so crazy I'd have to leave the house and go walking because I couldn't listen to my Sasquatch Chronicles. Because, see, if I don't listen to this shit while I'm sleeping, I have nightmares about people trying to kill me. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I have bad... I went through a lot of shit. And the only thing I have to worry about is hairless motherfuckers. I learned that. I'm not scared of these. If they want to kill me, I'm part of the food chain. I understand the laws of Mother Nature. I accept where I am on the food chain, and I accept that I may not be able to defeat every single problem that I run into, but I'm not going to be afraid. That's for sure. So I think not being afraid, not being afraid will keep even the hairless ones from messing with you.
Mm-hmm.
And not having fear, it gives you like you don't need anything else.
It seemed like when you're up in Minnesota, you know, they knew you were there. They kind of followed you home. Like, what other things happened up there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry. I get lost, I think, about things.
That's all right.
Well, I went back a couple weeks later again, checked to see if they accepted my offering of peace, and it didn't seem like they did. You know, I was a little disappointed, but I wasn't sure if the little one played with everything and left it there or what. So I put everything back, and I called for him, waited for a couple hours, and then I gave one different call that is actually different than the ones that I was. It was like it's a different pitch. It kind of like sounds like you need help. It'll get them to come in quickly, and it's just a super high pitch. It's just a bloody screaming, super high pitch scream, and they'll come in. They'll come in.
Yeah.
And they I gave that, waited a little bit, and then I started moving out. I kind of sensed that they were there. I say I kind of sensed. I knew they were there. I absolutely knew they were there. So I'm heading back, giving them their space, because I wanted them to see that, you know, I actually changed my one marble to a different one that looks more like stars and stuff, the solar system. You know, it looks kind of like that. So left that one there and walking on, and I'm about to the house, and they're on the left-hand side of me, because on the right-hand side was the pit mine. It was on the left. Now I'm heading back west, right? Am I correct? Let me look. Yeah, heading back west. So there's not a lot that they can be in between unless they're going to freaking hold my hand or walk in the water down this drop-off. and there's nowhere to run. They would have to swim. It's a straight drop off. Nowhere to go. Nowhere but on the left-hand side. And I hear a little bit of stuff every now and then, really nice and quiet. And I'm not scared. They're not throwing anything, but I know I'm being flanked. Then I get to the end of the wooded area. Almost, I'll be 150 yards away from town now. The trail goes right into town. And I hear some rustling, and bam, here comes this dog, hunting dog. There's a bird dog just pop out and starts running straight to town, just running. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, thank God I don't have Bandit with me right now. You know, normally I'm walking with Bandit, but I just wanted to pay my respects to them and leave my dog out of this and go back over there, and I'll come back again, you know. And I was like relieved I didn't have my dog. That dog would have been tore up. I had a 150-pound Mastiff Shepherd mix. And then I hear this wrestling again, and then all of a sudden, poof, this old man comes out with his hunting cap on and his hunting shirt and all the parka shit and everything, and guns, and white as a ghost, you know. He's just trying to run, and he's white as a ghost. Stops as soon as he sees me. And I said, you probably shouldn't be running around in the woods like that, man. Some people don't like that shit. And I said, your dog's off going to the house that way, but you can go check yourself. I just started walking off and left him there. He was scared shitless. I know he got flushed out. From that group.
Did he say anything to you?
Oh, no, he didn't have to. He was like what number did that make? Besides myself? 1, 2, 3. 3 people already in my life that 4, I'm sorry. 4 people. Well, 5. You know what? I'm done counting. Let's say I've seen enough people's first encounter that they don't vary really. They all look a lot alike.
Yeah.
You know when somebody's seen met their threshold of fear. You know when they met their threshold of fear. It's unmistakably clear. I worked in disasters, you know. I was trained to go through thousands of bodies and count the dead and the going to die and the ones that won't die. You know, you've seen people's fear, the ones that gave up complete hope, the will to take care of themselves, to fend for themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Just like rats sitting on a floating log waiting to die. You see the most debilitating disease, and it's a weak mind, you know, and it kills you by the thousands. I'm serious. I swear. It's a God's honest truth.
Right. If you're mentally, defeated.
Mentally ill-equipped.
Yeah.
It's a disease. You know, unfortunately it is. Because it'll kill you. And it's curable, you see? It's a disease. If you want to label it scientifically anyways.
Right.
I guess. I didn't actually go to college, but I'm going to assume that I might be a little right.
I think a lot of people maybe haven't experienced fear on a regular basis enough to, be able to handle it that well.
Of course. It takes a reassuring feeling. As long as you've been reassured, Hey, no worries. I mean, if you've had to assess and evaluate and come to the terms that you're still alive at least 100 times, well, I'm sure someone's done it a couple thousand times to your 100 times, and they're not going to feel, they're not going to feel the same as you do,
Right.
So, yeah. And I do laugh because one person that is really scared of things is that ex-girlfriend of mine. And she's a 99-pound girl. I mean, she's the same age as I am, knocking 50. But, she wasn't scared, not one bit. She had the first encounter that I would have to say everybody would dream of.
Oh.
And they wish they could have this where, 5 of them walk out, stand on top of the hill and look at you. And you get to look at them move around and staring at you. You get to see the effect of, where, they say cloaking Bigfoot, And you get to explain to her how the light is shining through the hair, just like the quartz on an agate. And she can understand that. She can understand what I'm talking about because I've explained it to her 1,000 times by this one agate. It's a solid agate. It's non-translucent. You cut it in half and you can't see through none of it except for a little thin shell across the outside. But if it wasn't cracked, that thin translucent thin layer around this 2-pound rock, if you put a red laser light to one side, the whole complete thing will light up as if it was hollow. And that is the exact same thing that's going on with her hair. It's just sucking in. The darker it is, the harder it is to encircle around the light to go all the way through and around in front. The gray one, it was going around all the way around in front to where only like a quarter of its chest was visible in front. You can tell that he was there. Other than, you can see the bright hair shining up.
Yeah.
And it absorbs the light, but you can see it's there. But, if you need glasses because you can't see far, you'll never see it. You might see a little ribbon or something. You might see something, but no, you won't see what it is. But whenever I seen a mother step in front of it, whenever it noticed that everything was okay, the mother stepped out behind the tree and stepped right behind the shoulder of the big gray one. And that's when my girlfriend can see the size of them, because it blocked the light behind it somewhat, and more of it was able to be seen. You was able to now pick up and see the head, and you could tell where the face was. You can see where the head was. She can clearly see that. Then she lost sight of the other ones, and she's like, "Well, where'd those go?" I was like, "Well, they're to the left, down about 10, 12, 20 feet or something like that to the left." And she's like, "I can't see." I says, "Well," I said, "Dang, I can't point to them." She goes, "Why?" I said, "Because everything will change." I said, "You know what? I'll point for you." I said, but everything's going to change. So I just stepped right behind her, and I laid my arm down the side of her neck and let her look down my finger. And then I pointed real quick. I said, now I'm going to point and I want to do this real quick. You got to watch. Don't blink. And I pointed. I said, there's the little one over there, one right next to it, and there's that one right there, right below the mom and dad, right up there. And she goes, and she's like, oh, and then because as soon as I did that, the three that was down below ran up to the gray one, and then they broke off. One took off to the right. The largest of the three took off to the right, and the two smaller ones took off to the left. When they got to the cliff, right before they got to the cliff, they dropped on all fours and then dove straight down this embankment that was like, I don't know, it's freaking high. It's high. It's like going straight down, and they went head first, and they just disappeared.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing this squawking sound like crows. Okay, now the bigger of the three, and these all three were black, the black ones, and the mother had a big girthy belly and everything. She was black. The only one that was gray was the gray one. Well, that the bigger of the three little ones running, and he had so much hair on his head. I mean, he was like an older teenager, kind of, don't brush his hair and shit, just shagged out. He looked like a shaggy thing, just running it was fast. It was super fast. All the way down, it's called a chert pile. It's this, where they dug the mine and they pile it. It's this gigantic, long, flat top ridge hill. And there's a small, narrow road that was going up there that they built this thing up. But now it's just a real thin, narrow path. Well, he went all the way down the length of that thing in a matter of a couple of seconds and started running down this slope, and probably 2 steps or 3 steps down, he dove and he landed at the bottom of the cliff on his on his hands, and was throwing himself and digging in with his feet like a cat. So fluid-like. And when he dove like he was going to go into water, and not he was going down a rock cliff,
Wow.
Yeah, he straight dove. And the slope was like a little bit more, maybe 45, something like that. Like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
It wasn't a 90-degree. It wasn't. It was just not a. I was so surprised that he dove so far. I mean, he dove so far down, and the speed that he had been going, the velocity, the force, the impact, and it was nothing to him. And this is hard rock. They dug iron out of this rock. No dirt, no soil, just rock. It's not what you want to go laying around on. It's nothing you want to camp out. You don't want to make a camp on it. You got to bring something to sleep on. There's no moss to lay on over there. The whole ground's been upturned and gone through. There's no dirt.
How far away do you think you guys were from your vantage point?
It was probably 130 yards.
Okay.
180 yards, maybe.
Yeah. Was it daytime, nighttime, or
Oh,
dark?
middle of the day.
Daytime.
Middle of the day.
Wow. So what did she think
I'll
after
be
that?
honest. I've never seen one clearly good or almost good. It's just I know it's them. I can see the silhouette of them, and I got nothing else going on. I don't have dog beds yet. I don't have ghosts. I don't have none of that shit going on. It's these wild people running around here, and they're already there. I've seen them, and now they're there at night. I can't see them very well at night. I've stood next to them walking and down in the driveway in the farm, right next to me. They're all the way around me. I'm flanked, and they're just walking with me, and I'm trying to keep my eyes focused to infinity, trying to see as much as I can, and I still can't make out nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and even though they're just I can spit on them. You know, they're close.
Yeah.
Right behind me. They're just walking along, going to go watch me. So I just don't try to. The only reason why I did that is because I knew that they were there. Excuse me. I knew they were there, and this girlfriend of mine, she was my ex-girlfriend or girlfriend, whatever the fact. The fact is, I was bent out of shape for her calling me a retarded bastard for all that shit, saying I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to see her, and the only way she was going to see me is that she was going to go walking in the woods with me and join me in something that I appreciate, not sitting in the house and doing nothing, you know.
Right.
There's all kinds of free shit to do outside in the woods. So that's what I wanted to do. There's no heat. It's cooler, you know. I have a problem with cancer, and the heat just it kills you. I mean, it just squeezes life right out of you. So if you can get in the shade and a breeze somewhere, away from the houses, it helps. It helps.
Yeah. So what did she think after all that? You know, she had heard from you, but then she saw him for herself.
Now she knows that it's quite clear that I know what I'm talking about. She said that she'll try to fix a couple of things that she's wronged me on. But with these, talking about what I call wild people, you know, what do you call them? Bigfoot, burgers, what do you call them?
Yeah, I usually just call them Bigfoot or Sasquatch, one of the two.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I have a really hard time saying those. It just sounds like a cartoon character.
I do too.
It doesn't sound proper. I want to keep saying wild people, but I know I'll get ridiculed for it. But you know, I just wish that anybody that has any type of ridicule, and you can't change anybody by ridiculing them. You can't change them by, if there is anybody more ready to die, it's me. And if somebody's got any kind of ridiculing and wanting to correct me, then more than happy will. Just don't do it by, you know, talking to me over this stuff. You know, just please do it in person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just for one, I can talk to somebody, and with all their hate, I can turn them into a student within 10 seconds. You know, I can talk their hate right out of them because it's senseless to act in a way that will take away your ability to bring in information. I mean, build a wall. You're going to build a wall against information from people that you won't hear all the time. The people that are like me, still living with them people on their land and protecting them. Well, they're still on their property. And all these people, I'm telling them to stop, don't talk, don't let them know where you're at. Don't talk too much. Wait until you're off the property and they're protected and they're no longer at risk. Don't bring harm to them. They're coming for you. I was harassed. I've had to, damn near had to fight them off. I mean, I was coming at them bastards with a shotgun. My biggest one, my teenage Betsy, I was going to kill him. They tried to tap the phone line, stopped out. Mom saw him, hey, someone's at the phone box. Oh, yeah, okay. That happened the day number 2 after that ranch hand. That ranch hand ratted us out. He told somebody.
Wow.
They tried to tap our phone. They were trying to, they'd see me driving. They'd get up on my ass and try to run me off the road or something. I don't know. Cops. But, they didn't want to go toe-to-toe. They didn't want to get out of the car. I stopped right in the middle of the road. You want to get on my ass? I'm going to let you hop on. The truck. You don't need the truck in the way. I stopped the road right in the middle of the road, hopped out, and started going right through that, right for them in their squad car. They turned around and hauled ass and went the other way in their car. I'm not the running kind. I wasn't supposed to live past 18. It was a miracle that I got past 26. Now cancer, on top of everything else. I'm a walking biology test for myself and big, long case of miracles. Miracles.
Yeah.
I've only seen a doctor once for my cancer, and I've had cancer for over 20 years.
What kind is it? Like, what do you think?
Renal cell carcinoma.
Is that...
That's kidney cancer.
Oh, kidney. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how are you feeling these days? Are you...
Like I got cancer.
Not too good. Yeah.
It feels like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want nothing different. I'm cool with it. If I'm supposed to be alive longer, I'll come up with a little trick. I'll come up with something. Extend my life a little longer. That's how I've been doing it. I use Mother Nature.
Yeah.
I use Mother Nature 100%. I came to Minnesota. This isn't about ghosts. This ain't about a lot of other stuff. It's about Bigfoot. But, I've been blessed so much because, I guess God sends angels to those who need it, I guess.
Yeah.
But my nurse that treated me when I was a baby in the hospital, this black lady, I called her Mama. Well, she come to me while I'm sleeping and stuff and waking me up, telling me to get out of town, go to Minnesota. And she just put everything in me. Get up, go now, get up, go now. You got to go now. And kind of like gave me the picture of being in the water, standing in the water with a jacket, standing in the water with a coat. That's what I was dreaming of then, or seeing or something. And then I just opened up my eyes. And I'm like, okay, and I'm getting up. Okay, I'm up. It's like she's my guardian angel. Like she come around in weird times.
Yeah.
But convenient. And I got up and started standing. Picked up from Texas, loaded my pickup truck up, got my dog, left. Just as quick as my brother did that day when he got scared shitless of Bigfoot and ran away.
Yeah.
I left just like that. Just like that. Just to go stand in the cold water so I can beat this cancer down and get my blood temperature down.
Yeah.
So I can kill cancer tumors. And I did. I killed a shit ton of them. Even in my kidney. When the doctor pulled it, he's like, wow. You had a lot of tumors in your kidney. I mean, a lot, but they were all dead. I said, well, I know. Yeah, I said it was just that one in the plumbing that I couldn't get the blood temperature down to kill it. I said, but nah, I'm going to next time. I said, I ain't going to forget twice.
Mm-hmm.
And so after surgery, I got back to Minnesota, and then I went through a hypothermia treatment about 2 years later, and I probably slept for 3 weeks straight, not getting up, just laying down in the bed in freezing temperature, just butt naked, covered up with a shirt, with the windows wide open, 30 degrees below zero. And I'd have my dogs lay on my feet when they're blue to thaw them out. And that's about it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I was very conscious about what I was doing. You know, I had some belly fat on me. You know, I gained weight real easy because of the cancer. You know, you eat something, you're going to get fat, or you're going to reject it. One of the two. Or you want to lose weight, you just got to stop eating. Everything's going to make you gain weight because you can't filter nothing. Everything's so. I was like, okay, whenever I no longer have fat on my belly, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to get up. And whenever I had no more fat on my waistline, I got up, and it wasn't all that easy getting up, and it was a task. It was very hard. It was difficult. I was by myself with my dog, and it took probably 3 hours before I can even put 45, 50-degree water on my feet. Tap water, cold tap water. You know, water comes out of the tap. It's like 50 degrees, 45, 50 degrees. It's very cold.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to put ice in it. Not once you get, you know, up to the Great Lakes region. When you're up in the northern part of Minnesota, it's cold. It gets cold. You know, it's a very short summer. Winter comes quickly. You know, just as soon as fall's there, you know, don't be fooled. That's actually winter.
Yeah.
It's quite cool. And that right there has that winter. Oh, the winters just keep me alive. If I can make it through summer, I can live through winter. It's work. Staying alive is work for me.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear it.
It's learning, but see, it's just free experience, and you know, I like to give what I learn to other people, you know, because I don't think they should have to pay to go see a doctor to get things done. Helping people should be free. I gave a lot of my years free service for free. And it was a lot more important than what they were doing. Any politician, any city council members, any judge, any law enforcement officers. The stuff that I was doing was a lot more important, meant a lot more, helped a lot more, and it's all done for free. Now, I'm nobody special. There are hundreds of thousands of people just like me. You know.
I mean, it feels good to help people, you know.
Well, I guess in a way, nothing ever felt good. Nothing ever felt good. But it has to be done. You know, there has to be a sense of obligation towards your community, your town, your neighborhood. There has to be a sense of ownership, a duty, a civic duty to do the right thing. And for one, you know, whenever you adopt a lot of rules and stuff, and you have a couple of oaths that you swear to, you know, and you kind of structure yourself and you build yourself. And some people build themselves out of string and they're flexible, and some people, you know, they tie themselves up with 9-wire and they don't flex. You know, I'm strung up with 9-wire, not string. You know, I just don't see why I need to flex or bend. That's never worked out for me. You know, that played a part in my life in so many different ways. You know, like that's one reason why I won't get surgery on all the bones busted in my neck, because then I gotta look like I'm disabled. You know, I gotta have a brace on my neck for a long time, or if I get surgeries on my shoulders or something, I gotta have some weird braces and stuff like that, or the back surgery. I said, no. I can't look like that. I can't look like that.
Yeah.
I gotta look like I'm capable.
Yeah.
You know?
I understand. Yeah, it's good to hear more about you, because it helps explain a lot of the things that have happened to you, you know?
Man, I think being around all that stress, growing up with all that stress, I'm really cool. I'm really cool, level-headed. I've had very nice times and very stressful moments just because I've indulged in this craziness, you know, being around them wild people and, you know, just taking it in and not resisting it, you know, just accepting it. They're there, you know, just deal with it. Put your fucking marbles there and don't act crazy. Don't go looking for them. Just let it be. Just let it be. Learn how to live with them. And they don't need protection.
Right.
To be understood. They need to be understood. They need, you know, if enough people that have stepped off the farms and stepped out of the woods, that's bartered with them, helped them, and received help, you know, there's people that's gotten help like you wouldn't believe from them. I mean, hands-on help.
Yeah.
And help that you wouldn't believe how they would help you. You know, if they had a sense that you needed it, they would help you. If they were your friends, if you know, animals are funny. You got to understand animals, and I want to say, if they decide to own you, they pick you as to have you. You know, I study animals and I study a lot of things, and things that are curious. Something's real big, you know, beastie, whether it's a big dog, a big something that's real curious, but something's scared. Well, it doesn't matter to the big thing. It still wants to look at it. So it's going to run up there and catch it, whether it's a little kid in a butterfly or a grasshopper or a big bear and a little mouse want to play with the little mouse. It doesn't care whether the little guy is scared, it's run away. So, hey, hold on. Let me check you out. Hold on. You know, that's the type of mentality that they can have, you know. And you got to give them that. Every animal has free will. I mean, God's given it to all creation, you know. Only the species that are adaptable to their environment will survive. If a seed can't grow the right direction, it ain't gonna survive. You know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So either it's got the right will or not. And as a biological being on this earth, you got to give everything its proper respect. I've walked alongside of some weird freaking animals. You give it respect and don't mess with it too much, and it'll leave you alone. Mess with it, it'll snap. I mean, I've been in swamps, so I've been around alligators, thousands of snakes. I've been around a lot of stuff that want to eat you and kill you. Like, the swamps were my playground. And when I was a little kid, I'd be in the swamps all summer long. No parents. I'd scoop my buddy up. We'd get his mom to drop off a boat. And we'd go boating and row all day long, all night, just rowing, going as far as we could. In the same place where I had my first encounter, in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
And never having fear. Never seen anything. After I was 4, all out there, living in that area, never seen them again, But if they were watching me, they might have been keeping their distance, because they already seen how scared I was. I mean, I was a white kid. I mean, my hair was white. I was brown.
Yeah.
Not very many people looked like me. I was all burned up, I looked funny. I had white hair, and I was brown from being in the sun all the time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can see how something like that can recognize me for years,
Yeah.
To that age till I was a teenager, And I can see how people can go around and not ever see them and believe it. For one, if I'd never seen it, I would never believe it. I'd have never believed it in my life. I mean, hell, when I was 41, I had a girlfriend that was saying she seen a dog man and werewolf thing over here in Minnesota, not too far. What is that? Starts with an M. Mora, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, this werewolf is at the door, at my window, and I'd seen it all this, keep telling me about this werewolf. I'm like, no, it's got to be a Bigfoot with a baboon, because the Bigfoot is the mother gene of every single hominid. So it just makes sense that you're just seeing one of them ugly ass fucking baboons, or what are them things called? That has a dog nose and they're just big, long canine teeth.
Oh, the Gugway.
A what?
Gugway, I think they call those. Gugwe.
No, I'm talking about an orangutan or something with the weird face. It's an ape. It's
baboon.
Yeah, I guess it's a baboon. Yeah, I was now you got to be seeing something like that, that's just a prehistoric baboon. And she's like, no, and she'd get real mad. And I never knew Sasquatch Chronicles or anything,
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't hearing no dog man stories. I never heard of no dog man stories. I don't watch TV. I don't, none of that shit. Everything I learned, I wanted to learn it firsthand.
So what do you think about the dogman stuff now that you've known a little bit and heard stuff? What do you think about that?
Well, it's got to be a prehistoric gene. There's, God is amazing. He can create anything. I mean, look at prehistoric genetics before you tell me what's not impossible. You can't decipher anything unless you know the precursor. Know before so you can figure out what's possible afterwards. There's a fingerprint. It's genetics. It's there. And prehistoric genetics, there's so many possibilities. The types of eyesight that one would have had, how they can adapt so easily to different things in the necessity to survive, like determining sexes, reptiles, mammals, and insects could have all had the ability to have a child, a male or a female, depending on how much they eat, the weather, all different kind of situations would result in what type of species, male or female, being born. And the possibilities go from everything from its hair, its skin, to its eyesight, its breathing. There's absolutely nothing not possible. So when you talk about the dog man, now you gotta, okay, where can it fit? How can it fit? Relate it to something that makes sense in the prehistoric genetics. Can it fit? For one, I'm only going through this with you for the first time. Good question. Let's analyze this the proper way. Okay, if it is a mother gene, just like Bigfoot, to me, I have to say, I have to find what in the hell is it representing? What kind of cousins? What kind of genetics around kind of ties into it? There's got to be two sides of this thing somehow, because just like Bigfoot, there's two different sides in my book that I'm finding. The apes and monkeys and the bipedal humans. We are cousins and not distant cousins, I'm going to guess, to all the monkeys and apes and all them little other things that's running around. And they have to have a tree too, you see. They just can't be just a dog man,
Mm-hmm.
There has to be something else. Are they related to every single canine? Are they the mother gene? How long has this thing actually been recorded? Well, I know there's written history in my mother's side, 500 years at least BC, and a lot of it has accounts of going to land fighting hairy beast, dog-like beast, man-like beast, and stuff like that. And no real scientific name for nothing. It's something new discoveries, and it's written history. But it's all convoluted. It's all being held tight. It's not being released. Even if it's been released, it won't be
promoted.
They won't confirm what they've already said.
Yeah.
So it would have to be that. That's as far as I can go on that, because I haven't seen them. All I'm saying is that someone has to find where that tree lies. They have to find the ties. It has to have cousins down this tree. There has to be a tree, the branches. There has to be something there. I don't know if it's, Dogman is mother gene of all kinds of different animals other than canine. I wouldn't know. I haven't got to look at them.
Yeah.
I've got to look at wild people. I've got to look at their feet, their toes, their junk, their hands, their face, their eyes, their lips, everything. How they do, how they move, how they react to all different things, all different gestures. I've seen them how they react to an escalation that was like how I escalated by pointing at them. I escalated it, but I knew it was going to be short-lived. I knew this because I was going to assure them that there was nothing going to happen. I made sure that none of my body movements were nervous movements. I was very conscious and aware of my behaviors to not let them get the wrong idea about anything, So it was a short, quick point. They got really, really worked up, and we got flanked fast. I mean, it happened super fast, and a lot. I'm talking about when Christine, my ex-girlfriend, she was with me at that time.
Right.
When she had her first experience, and I called out to them and had them come in, they came in like a giant group of kids. It sounded like they were hooting and hollering and playing. And all of a sudden, I heard them splashing like they were in a public swimming pool. And I was like, is there a public swimming pool here? She's like, no. I'm like, you sure? There's a pool somewhere. Goes, no, there's not. Well, there's a pond down below us into the woods right before that big hill. They got to there and splashed around down there, and then shot up that hill. They were close. Well, behind us is a ballpark field, and there were some people playing ball. Well, when we got flanked, the third to the tallest of the three that flanked to the right and went running and dove down that embankment, well, he went all the way around and started coming up behind us, and he got spotted by everybody that was at the ballpark field. I heard a bunch of people, look, it's Bigfoot, look.
Really?
And the next thing you know, this thing shot through the trees, and I heard it. It shot through the trees and over to the other side, just like if it was sailed across this hill that I was on. And then it was to the other side and squawking and hollering over there with the other two. And so all three of them squawking and hollering down there. And she's like, are those crows? I'm like, well, that is the noise that they're making. Yes, that's the crow noise. That's exactly what that is. I said, you don't possibly think crows are that loud, do you? She goes, no, not at all. I said, they're right down there. She goes, I can't see them. I said, they can see you. I said, they're very hard to see. They're black. They blend so well. I said, you don't even bother about looking for them. Just look at the ones at the top. That's who we're visiting with right now. That's who we're with right now. And they're just down, getting close looks at us, seeing what's going on with us. They're not there for confrontation at all. Those were the kids, and they're excited. They were told, I would imagine, to do exactly what they did, because all three of them went straight to the big guy, which is not very big. He was only like 10, 12 foot tall. And they went to him, and they all split off. Two went together one way, and one went the other way, and they all flanked us. Well, they tried to flank us, but that one got caught, so they all basically were staged in front of us in a little half-moon circumference, kind of like in front of us, down inside the trees, doing all that squawking. Lasted about 15 minutes.
Wow.
Then the three went up, just shot right back up the hill, and they all turned around and walked together away. I said, that's the group that I'm hanging around with. And she was kind of floored, and that was the last time I seen her.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really. All I wanted to do is prove to her I wasn't crazy, and I have a lot of resentment for that. I love her, but she couldn't believe something that I was telling her, and I have no reason to lie about nothing. And when I really needed support, I mean, you don't know how many times she's made me cry. And you just, a lot of people, you know, when people are put into the situations to change every single bit of human nature you thought was human nature, change every bit of it, because you're going to get eaten, or, you know, you have to live with this, you know, whether you like it or not, you know. And things, you're different. You're just different. You're going to be wired different. And yeah, the animosity towards somebody for not believing them in something that's so critical and something that can make or break your whole mental your capability, whether or not you're going to be able to shit and piss right, you know, every bodily function will hinge on your knowledge of this.
Yeah.
You know, and to deny or just be so objective to it is, I don't know. And when you're sitting in my shoes, and it's probably a whole nother story, but if you only had like one encounter and don't know, or you heard something, see her daughter had an encounter, she didn't believe, she was with her daughter was like 6 or 7, and they were seeing what the dogs were barking at, and there was this big old giant thing that looked like something, and they already knew what Bigfoot was because this happened in like 2004 or 2006 in Duluth, downtown, like close to downtown Duluth, Minnesota. And she couldn't believe it, and she got real mad at the kids and stuff like that. And, you know, and now she had called her family, she talked to everybody, and she goes, "Hey, Travis said this here," and he showed me, he goes, "They were there," you know, he goes around them, he called them, and he's like, she can call them in, and, you know, he camps, and they come by, and they give him firewood, and they're doing all this stuff, and, you know, the cow, you know, you know, this is for real, you know, she's all weirded, and now she wants to go to, those Bigfoot, what are those things where people go talk and say, "I got this, I know this story," and this, you know, she's going to those things now.
Yeah. Oh.
What are those things called?
Oh, just conferences, events.
Yes, Bigfoot conferences. Yeah, she's going to those. She's going to go to those, the Washington one and everything. Now now her brain's all ate up in it, in a good way, because I ensured that she was going to have a peaceful, she wasn't going to have a nightmare. And when I did this, she only knew that I was bringing them in when I started calling them to come in. I said, "Look, you don't have to worry." I said, "Just don't be scared." I said, "For one, you don't have nothing to be scared of because they don't exist. So
right.
watch. Just watch." And she did. She was totally 100% accepting everything that I was saying and wasn't arguing, and she was taking it in because it was there in front of her. You know, and I was showing her all kinds of stuff before I did this. I already knew they were there because I seen their tracks. I could tell where they were. I mean, apparently I can track a lot better than you know, I'm not bad. I found where he had a depression right off the trail. I says, look, and this is all fresh too. I knew that was because of us. I mean, the grass was still moving, and it was stepping through really tall grass, like 4.5, 5 foot tall, and there'd be one little tassel of grass. You know, once they're 5 or 6 tall, 4 or 5 foot tall, the amount of grass is a lot less that are that high. There's a whole bunch at 3 foot. There's a whole lot less at 4 foot, and there's not very many at 5 foot. Look at the 5 foot ones, and you'll see one pointing right in the direction that he just stepped over and bumped that one blade of grass, and it tipped it. And I said, see here? You see them little tips right there? Come here. I said, look in here. See that big old hole right there? Something laid down right there and was watching this road right here. I said, now watch. Because if that's tipped that way, follow me. And I walked on the side of where he was walking. And I said, there should be a step right here, an impression right over here. Walk in, found it. I said, there'll be another one. See that tipped grass? See, something's either hopping from here all the way up and all the way over there. I said, some gigantic jackrabbit or something? Or is it a big old boy just stepping over? I said, well, really? When people are investigating, they'll say, this is evidence. Well, why aren't you taking pictures of any of this? I said, what? And prove that humans exist? I said, that's already been done. I said, I'm not going to be a fool. I said, if I'm going to prove to anybody, I'm just going to have their eyeballs on it. I said, come on, let's go this way. Let's keep going. Get back on to doing rocks, looking for rocks, you know. Showed her impressions where one was chasing a deer. Look at here, here's one with footprint, big old footprint. I said, check how deep that is. Look, damn, I'm stopping my ground and I can't even get my foot into the ground. Look how deep that is. It's filling in. I said, that's a deep impression. And I said, look, deer. Must be chasing that deer. Let's follow tracks. And I showed her. It's going her on tracking. And I said, see here, it's heading straight toward that hill. I said, it's got to be going up that hill too. Let's go check it out. And look, yep, sure enough, stepped there, and I crawled up the hill a little bit, and I said, yep, another foot here. There should be one over here. And by the way the foot's turned, he's going to land right there. Let me turn. Let me go over there. I crawled up the hill up that way. Yep, another one right here. Crawled all the way to the top. I said, dang. One step, and one step is on the top, very top side. She goes, wow. She goes, you should take pictures of that. I said, no, I ain't taking pictures of this. I said, it's already been done. I said, I am not arguing with nobody for this.
Yeah.
And kept on going, and I took her to that one spot, and I said, you know, watch this. And I called him, and there it was. I gave her that. It was so stress relieving to say, hey, this is why I can't think. This is why I can't do shit. This is why I only want to be out in the woods. This is why I got to listen to the Sasquatch Chronicles all night long, because this is the only way I can relax. I have nightmares about fucking everything bad has happened to me. I practice while I'm sleeping. I practice survival while I'm sleeping. Every type of situation that'll ever come up, I dream about it. And if I got Sasquatch Chronicles on, I just sleep like a baby.
Yeah, it's a great show. I do the same.
I mean, I don't dream about Bigfoot. I don't even dream. You know, I just sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
No dreams, no nightmares. Man, if I didn't have Sasquatch Chronicles playing, I mean, if it stops, I'd go start having sweat dreams. You know, I'd have to get up and turn it on.
Yeah.
And stop sweating, having night sweats. There's only a few things that kind of puts me at ease, and that's being in the woods and driving real fast. You know, I love this, moving fast. I think I would probably enjoy jumping out of airplanes.
Yeah.
The only reason why I don't like jumping off cliffs is I got to get back up. Yeah, I want people to know the truth. I want people to know what's not being told. I want people to understand, you know, the reason why. There's so many whys. You know, why did you have that bad experience? There are ways that things could have been done differently. Yeah, throw me the question, what about the dude that was shoved in his truck backwards and his girlfriend got raped? Huh, what answer that one? Well, I have been very careful all my life about having sex in the woods, being very conscious about being around wild animals and wild people all my life. So if they would have known, like I did, they could have made sure that if the girlfriend was on the period, they're very careful and protective and don't antagonize wild people into wanting to have a competition on who gets to have seconds. You know,
yeah,
they're wild. You're talking about wild people. You know, they have the mentality of, no, I think I'm the dominant one. I think I'm going to win this one. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think stuff like that. You know, people can. You know a lot more about this stuff than a lot of people. So I think people will be able to learn a lot from what you're saying.
Just understanding the wildness of the largest predator on the earth, the most powerful and the smartest, most adaptable, and it's human. So, what do you got? I don't know. Maybe an attitude of a cat, strength of an elephant, and the balls of, I don't know, 40-ton titanium balls. I don't know.
Right.
You get something that I don't know how you can describe it other than a prehistoric wild human. You know, that says it right there.
Yeah. And, you know, I was going to tell you, you know, we were talking about what do you call it? You know, I read a lot of these old newspaper articles from 100 years ago, and that's what they called them: wild man, wild people. You know?
Yeah, because they had to deal with it. They different ways when you're subject to learning about it. There's different ways. There's the hard way and there's the easy way. You know, the easy way is trying to understand what's going on. The hard way is resisting the facts and denying facts. And if you deny their existence, they might want to make it a little clearer. You know.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to deal with them, you know, you got all those animals, and you don't want to deal with them, well, they might say, hey, well, you're not going to have any of them. You know, you got to pick your battles, and you got to know when to submit. I mean, as hard as it is, I mean, I never, ever will submit to a hairless motherfucker, but wild people, I submit.
Yeah.
You know, no problem. So it's real thing. It's a real thing. And, like, where are you at, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, near Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, if you ever around here, I can, if you want to see them, I can probably let you do that.
Yeah, I was going to tell you we might be up there in the springtime.
You wouldn't believe the amount of traveling they can do in a day. 60 miles in a day is nothing. Nothing. They can travel that. I seen them. I seen them run. Oh man, 80 miles an hour, easy, fast. They move like lightning. So I want to get the map. I want to look at that area that you're talking about. You're looking at the area of the Masabi Trail where I camp. That's exactly where it's at. And there's 5 of them and a gray one running that area. And they're not alone. There's other groups. So I'm not saying there's only one group there. What I'm saying is that family that I've, got to be friends with, kind of, sort of. That's kind of weird saying your friends, but hey, to me, if they're not trying to put you while your back is turned, but they'll deal with you while they're, in a way, but not hurt you, well, they're my friend, because I know the difference between somebody that ain't my friend and one that is. Yeah, that's right in there.
Yeah, not that far.
Yep, and if you change, I can't find it yet. I suck at this. Map stuff. Here we go. Now I'm going down the right spot. Yeah, and if you put your thing on layers, you can see that there's a large swath of trees all along that highway, going all the way east and west.
Yeah.
And that is the line of that Masabi Trail that I've been talking about.
Yeah, I pulled it up.
If you look at Grand Rapids, and it goes over there that's exactly where it is in that pit. That long lake, that's one pit.
Yep.
And I go along the side of that, going into the lake, that titty.
Yep.
That's where I got to meet, and that's where I would meet that group of wild people.
Yeah, I see.
Meet them over there and give them a marble, call out to them, let them look at me, hang out for a while, and then ease back. And I would hike and look for whatever I can find, fossil agate. I try to find agates, but I'll pick up fossils or arrowheads or whatever the heck I find that's cool. I don't look for scrap metal or nothing like that. I'm looking for archaeology crap.
Yeah.
But you can see a little spot of trees missing right in there as you're going into the titty.
Yeah, I see it.
The titty.
Yep.
That's a little pond, little beaver pond in there. And you keep going above that little hole in that spot where that beaver pond is, and you'll see a dark line. That's a drop off. That the edge of the mine slipped down a little bit. So the trees slid down into the mine, and now there's a lowered ledge, a drop off, kind of like. And that's where I went around that group. It was on the south side of that bottom of that titty, and I just went around behind them on that lower end of that titty and went all the way around them.
Yeah.
Coming from Marble and went around them and went all the way little town to the east and went through town, crossed over through town, and went all the way around that other lake on the other side of the lake through all these trees, looking through every trail, road, creek, water, looking for any tracks whatsoever to see if they're coming on this side, and they're not coming on this side. And then I'm noticing that this must be just the highway for them running between, getting off around these little towns, see if they can scoop up any kind of, anything from this side, or whether it's from garbage or whatever, maybe people feeding deer, whatever, people watching, whatever. And they can travel all that area up there and go as far north as they want, far east or west. They have the entire northern range with nothing in the way.
Yep.
Just keep backing out. Keep moving around, looking around. There's nothing in their way. And there's so many people that runs across them over there, but so many people don't even think they exist, don't know anything, so they're going to have the first freaking encounter, and, they're going to be laying eggs,
Right.
They're going to be laying eggs.
Yeah.
I've seen it too many times.
I agree.
So, yeah, that I would have to say that I really love that spot, but I got bad lungs, man. Firefighting and getting burned up as a little kid, I wasn't supposed to live long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're all along up there. There's trails. This swath of trees is all the way from Lake Superior.
Yeah.
I mean, you can zoom in. There's nothing stopping them to go all the way to Lake Superior at the Minnesota-Wisconsin border.
Yep.
People don't realize how much jungle is out there and how little cover they need. They need very little cover. Because for one, they move so fast. These cameras nowadays, they don't have 1,000 SP or 2,000, the amount of actual footage that you get is not much.
Right.
The resolution sucks.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because they move so fast. See, I used to run camera equipment where I can take a picture of a helicopter flying on the beach and stop the rotor blades on the tail and the upper rotor blades like it's a toy just floating in the air, running 2,000 speed, 35 millimeter. And that's what it's going to take. These things are so fast. If you want to get photos of them, you're going to have to use a old school 35 millimeter film, 600 speed, a doubler with a zoom lens. And that's the only way you're going to get it. And the reason why you use that type of equipment is because you can actually sit behind a fence or you're blind, or I know exactly what someone would need to do that. You got to have a real fine mesh bug net, and you got to cover it up with leaves, and you got to have a little spot to where you can go in right through the right spot without getting close up to it. You got to be far enough away from it so that when the binocular vision, they focus on that front foliage, you trick the binocular vision to where there's nothing just right behind it, so it won't focus further,
Yeah.
because it starts seeing other stuff. So now you trick the binocular vision. You can trick your camera in not seeing your screen mesh in front of you, because you're focusing so far out, you never see your screen mesh.
Yeah.
So that's completely out of the picture, and you can get the best shots. But you have to have somebody like me to work it all out so there's no movement. You can't move and get a shot. It's got to be there.
Yeah.
You got to be ready.
Have you ever tried to do that, or?
No. That's up to somebody else to fight like that.
Okay. I was just curious.
But yeah, that's not my deal. I fought my fight. I'll keep fighting it if I have to.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. Now, I'm good at that.
Yep.
And somebody else will be good at making. Somebody else will have the resources to move stuff around, keep it buried, because whenever you're doing this kind of stuff, here's what it is. You got to understand how they do it, because they're pretty good. So you bury it in information. So if you got one line, you need 1,000 lines it hidden. So if you got one page full, you need 100,000 pages. So while I'm on Facebook typing and posting shit, well, I'm posting it like super far deep in comments and stuff, and it's not on like my YouTube channel or my Facebook thing, and I'm just hoping they can't just look at my stuff and see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They would have to literally search everything that I posted and said about
Right.
to actually find this shit.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
And then it can disappear like this. All I have to do is say, okay, this guy is fishy. I'm done. You know, take everything off the page. Everything I ever said will be gone, deleted, and then I'm done with it. You know, I'll just be off of it for a while and just chill out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to spot them. I've ran across them, and emails get deleted. I was talking with this one dude, Eric, and I was gonna help him out. He was working with this Jeff something or another. He's a photographer. He goes to Africa and shit like this, and I was helping him out. You know, how to get photos of them too. How not to have a bad day. You know.
Yeah.
That's the most important. How not to have a bad day, and then once you learn how not to have a bad day, you can figure out what the hell you can do. You know, see if you really can take those photos. See if you really can, you know, get your proof. You know, because you don't want to have the same thing everybody else does. An argumentative photo.
Right.
But you're gonna have to have a photo, a video, and photos of somebody standing there with these people walking up in front of them. Comparison. You know, they're going to have to see an interaction.
Right.
And it's possible. You know, it's totally possible. But, you know, they don't like surprises, and it's super dangerous. You know, it's because someone's going to have fear. You know, a lot of you're talking about something that will scare somebody too bad. You know, it's tricky, super tricky.
Yep.
So
I agree.
You know, it's hard for me to stress somebody. It really is, and that fear will kill you. And if one person gets too scared, you know, for one, I wouldn't let nobody carry a gun. I wouldn't want to go out with nobody with a gun. I don't trust anybody with a gun but me. You know, if they want me to carry the gun, if they really need a gun, I'll carry the gun. You know,
right?
You know, that way I know it won't be pointing where it doesn't need to be pointing. You know, and I'll make sure it ain't getting pointed until it actually needs to be pointed. You know, And, so many people don't understand that, if they're going to come close, they're going to come close. You don't have to shoot them while they're on the way. Most likely, they're not going to just squash you like an ant, Give them a little bit of credit, and just don't go straight to war,
Right.
You know when you're in trouble. And, you hear most people when they talk about having them bad experiences with them, tearing up the house and banging and shit. You always hear it. Retaliate. They retaliated by doing this. And, well, there's the thing, you made them retaliate,
Mm-hmm.
And if everybody just kind of sits down and understand, maybe they can figure out what could have they done, what could have been different, what are the customs and what are your do's and don'ts when they're around, Do you just say, okay, throw your hands up and say, okay, we'll leave, and start packing up and leave, They understand that. Just throw your hands up and let them drop. Start packing. They know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be smart enough for that. If so many people, they say they got flanked out, and pushed out and all this. Well, they were let go. They wasn't in any danger whatsoever. Because if they were in danger, if they were going to get hurt, oh man, there's nothing stopping them. There's nothing stopping them. And there's another one. There's going to be another one, 14, 16 foot tall somewhere. And when he shows up, nobody knows. That was a big group over there. Big group. There was more than 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
There's several of them. And, there's a big one. There's a big one somewhere. And I mean big. Real big. They're so big, they stand behind a tree. You're supposed to look into the trees up top. They'll be looking over the top of the trees, looking through the tops.
Hmm.
They'll be standing behind it, and you don't know how big that base of the tree is. Is that the base of the tree, or is that
His
who's
leg.
behind it?
Yeah.
And, I seen a video of some kids playing around, and I seen one behind the tree. And these kids were, so small, around the knees to this guy. And this guy was, way up there at the top of the tree. It looked like a telephone pole compared to these kids,
Wow.
And I was like, hey, you might want to check that out right there. And they're not that big. 7, 8 foot, 10 foot tops. And I'm like, whatever. There's no tree that looks like that. No tree has inside the tree, no leaves. And it looks like somebody standing up behind the tree, but that's too big. That's too big. That's what I agree. When you're standing in front of it, it's too big. Even when they're 14 foot tall, it's too big. Too big and too close. I agree. But deny that it's not possible and deny that it is what it is, that's bullish. That's bullish, man.
All right, Travis. Well, why don't we wrap it up tonight? I gotta take a leak. But it's been great talking to you tonight.
You too.
And we'll do it again if you want. I'm always willing to listen. So.
Yeah, anytime, man. I'll tell you anytime. If I got the chance, Yeah, I'm absolutely game. I'll tell anybody. I've talked to a lot of people. I say a lot of people, probably 10. That's a lot for me.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of people.